Hello and welcome. This is Japan. We've got a nice new little setup here. If you guys have any idea to make it look cooler or add things, let's do it. Better name to wrestle with it. I don't really know. I wanted to make a series because I always do tier list here on the channel a lot of the times, and sometimes the tier list format isn't the greatest. So I figured like a little talking thing here maybe is cool. I don't know. It's just kind of a working project. So this will be the very first one of these. Wrestle with it, basically coming up with ideas. And this idea was submitted by French Fries, our loyal community member and friend. So I figured, why not? I'm gonna have a little bit of a twist on it because I liked his idea a lot with having dream matchups versus Stardom versus WWE, and so we're gonna do it here. I guess my caveat is I'm gonna have a little bit different ones than ones that we probably discussed, and maybe they're just kind of dream matches to me. So I feel like right off the bat, the easiest one to talk about would be Mayu versus Io Sky. Now they've had matches in the past. They have had a little bit of overlay of being around the same area. So it isn't like completely out, but I think it has been completely different for their like paths since they've kind of separated, that they're just both so amazing. So like I feel like this has to be the headlining match. This is the main event. Probably the one I shouldn't have started with, but like I think it's kind of the more obvious one. And I'm probably going to do like two of these videos cuz I don't want it to be super long, and probably like a nice little match card, but there is so many dream matchups, but that one I feel like is the key. Io and Mayu would just absolutely blow the doors down. They have it's kind of like a similar move set in certain ways, but they would just be flying all over the place, and that would be my main event. So then working after that, this one maybe not necessarily. I think like gelling wise, like I don't know exactly how it would work with their styles because they're kind of opposite. But on the Stardom side, you got to use AZM, super young talent, just incredibly what she's done, and she's worked at such a like young age. And I think you got to go right in the WWE with somebody who has a very similar thing with Roxanne Perez, because like Roxanne, like it's just like that super young firecracker, and that's the same thing I think with AZM. I feel like they would just kind of go out there and just try to steal the show. Like that matchup would just be them going back and forth, and I would really like it because like I was thinking with AZM, there's a lot of people that kind of fit. Like a Liv Morgan could also work really well. Lyra Valkyrie, like she AZM just kind of has like that moldable style of wrestling where like you could place her in with somebody else that could really run around with her, and it would be a good match. But I don't know. I'm feeling my number one would be Roxanne Perez. Also, just on the caveat of this list, I'm not going to use like Julia and Stephanie. They're in NXT and technically WWE, but I kind of didn't want to use necessarily those two, especially because of it. And obviously, yeah, we're gonna, it's like a two-part video, I guess, maybe three parts, depending on how much people like. But yeah, those are my top two guaranteed matches. Now this one's the kind of out of the box, so you're gonna have to go with me on this one. I don't necessarily feel like this is probably anybody's match together, like these two people. I personally feel from the styles that I've seen that they would put on a match that honestly would just be one of those matches where you're just like, man, that looked brutal. And that would be Maka versus Rhea Ripley. I feel like their style, like even just kind of like that, like rough and badass type thing works really well together. And I think like them two going into the ring could be really good because like both of them are kind of like one of those things where like they have this aura around them that like it's like two mega bosses kind of facing each other. At least that's how I would be in my eyes, and I could just see them gelling pretty well together. That it would make a really good match. I don't know if that would necessarily be anybody else's, and this one kind of feels like to me it's just more of like my pick. It's just like I think two solid good wrestlers, and they're also very highly ranked wrestlers in each one of their organizations. That I think it's a pretty cool thing. I honestly think it'd be a pretty awesome match, and I mean, I'm personally down seeing it because I like both wrestlers a lot, and yeah, I think it'd be kind of a cool thing. So that's where we're gonna go with that one. Next up, I would say. You got a lot of choices here. There's a lot of choices. Um, Me personally, I don't know. Which one do we put up on here? This one I feel like is a bit of a stretch in certain people's eyes because I don't really necessarily think like match wise it works as well. Like I honestly think they'd still put on a phenomenal match, but I kind of like Tsuyui versus Charlotte Flair here. They kind of have like, to me, they kind of feel like almost like these big heels, because like I really feel like Charlotte is a better heel than and face, and that's a whole different vein. But like I just kind of feel like having those two kind of going at it is like these kind of, just two, I don't even want to say badass, but just like big personalities. And I think they honestly could have a really good match too. I feel like they have enough of a, similar style, I think, in certain areas, that the match would still be good. I definitely would love to see it. I mean, any of these matches are just like dream matches because, like, you're not going to probably ever get these matches ever again or ever before because Stardom doesn't work with WWE. But man, if they could ever figure that gap, we could see some really cool things. Um, but that one, me, it's like just kind of a personal one that I think is a good matchup. There was a lot of people that could fit with her too, so I think that made it a little bit more difficult. And yeah, well, let's see what we got. That would be four matchups. We're gonna go with a fifth, a nice little fifth match, and like I said, I might do some more parts if there's, a look for this. Um, we got to put Tam Nakano on this one. I mean, obviously, she's just an amazing wrestler, really good of a draw. Um, I think it's like one of those things where there's honestly a lot. Like I said, I was talking to French Fries about this, and he had picked Candice LeRae, which honestly, absolutely cook of a match. I would watch it. I think it would be a phenomenal match. But I was kind of looking back at like Tam's move set, and there's a person that actually kind of has a few similar moves, especially in their kind of like finisher move, and that is Jade Cargill. Honestly, it's like one of those things that like it kind of low key really works. Like obviously Tam kind of has like the tiger suplex and the like Twilight Dream, so like it's a little bit more like pulls and grabs, but like man, there could be some pretty interesting moves there with like if she could if she has enough strength to kind of really dig in there and knock Jade Cargill back, it would look phenomenal like with the size of Cargill. And then not to mention like her jaded is very similar to Tam's move also, like so like you could sort of have some big tosses here, and I think the back and forth would be really good. Obviously, like Jade, I think even like with just being in WWE, is still trying to get like a lot of that cadence down and still like really nail it out. So if this would be a dream match, maybe a little bit down the line, but I don't know. I just when I was thinking about their fighting styles and what they do and stuff, it just fit for me. Like I said, Tam, I feel like is another one that you could pick a lot of people on this roster, and there's a lot of people that would fit really well with her. But I just kept coming back to Jade Cargill, and I was like, I think that would be a pretty solid match with their strength and stuff. That Cargill would look really good, and so would Tam, because I can just like they have just these really good tosses and grabs and stuff, and I'd be down for it. So yeah, those are my picks for like a nice little 5 match card if Stardom and WWE ever worked out. And yeah, hope you guys like this little like new setup thing. I'll probably film a couple videos like this, so if there's any changes, I'm not ignoring the changes. It just I record a little bit in bulk sometimes. So if you guys like it or if you have any ideas, because it is kind of plain, but I don't know, it's not as like distracting with the video because most of my videos I have are like the tier list stuff, and obviously um, I think this one fits better without the tier list. But until next time, this has been Japan. I'll see you guys then. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what else your guys' dream matches are. Bye, guys.